Hi, Intro to Mass Communication students. Today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favorite media platforms, magazines. In my personal experience, I was the editor of Wisconsin Natural Resources Magazine, the state environmental magazine, for 5 years. And before that, had been the assistant editor and a regular contributor. And so I have a certain fondness for magazines. I love the long form journalism, and as a writer, being able to take a topic and get a little more in depth and have the space to be able to write and be more descriptive in my writing and use feature style rather than a hard news style. And I also enjoy looking at magazine design and the use of photojournalism. And so photos play a really important role in magazines, most of them at any rate. I enjoy thinking about the covers, what kinds of images are really going to attract readers and draw them in. And niche publications have become really important. And so while magazine subscriptions have declined over years, recent decades, I would say some of the niche publications are still holding their own. One of those is The Progressive. I subscribe to that. If you're not familiar with The Progressive, it's more than 100 years old. It's located in Madison, and it was started by Bob LaFollette, who is from Wisconsin and a very well-known political figure. And it's really meant to be a voice for peace and justice and holding the government and corporations accountable and doing a lot more with sort of investigative journalism and in-depth stories. But there are also reviews, book reviews, but it really helps foster a conversation about issues in society and again, getting to that whole discussion about the role media plays in a democracy. So that's something we'll be thinking about again this week. And I'd like you to think back to a magazine maybe you were interested in when you were growing up. Um, do you look at magazines when you're getting ready to check out at the grocery store? Do you enjoy cooking? And so you turn to magazines for recipes and new trends in food, or maybe travel and adventure, certainly sports magazines, and then some of the bigger the time in the news weeks, thinking of the national news angles that are covered. And so I think it's a great topic for us. And some of the questions that you will be considering this week include: how did magazines become national in scope? What role do magazines play in social reform? What triggered the move towards magazine specialization? So, again, those niche publications. How have the internet and convergence changed the magazine industry? And how do magazines serve a democratic society? And then also thinking about, as we have been with newspapers, about ownership and the economics behind magazines, and like newspapers struggling to find a new way to support themselves, um, considering online content and premiums, things such as calendars. And I'm even aware of an environmental magazine in Minnesota that exists by donations. And so there's some interesting models emerging out there for how we might be able to continue to publish some of these more niche publications. And so I hope you will enjoy this discussion. It may be something you want to think about more in depth as you consider what your final project will be. So enjoy your readings and explorations.